Welcome to Without Apology, another rendition. I'm Bogue. With me as always, River, Harter, and Steven still doesn't have a mustache. Gamauf.
Not gonna have a mustache. I mean, I have a mustache, but not just a mustache.
He needs to shave his beard.
Right, so not a mustache.
Okay.
Joining us, first time, special guest, Vinny Buckets.
Hey, how's it going,
Vinny
guys?
Buckets, LeBello.
Vinny
long time
Buckets
listener.
Just out of curiosity, what is your last name?
My last name is Buckets. No, it's LeBello. It's LeBello.
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 Strong Italian.
Which is Italian for the beautiful. So my full name is Vincent the Beautiful.
Buckets.
Oh my gosh.
That's a real
Man,
thing.
you are gorgeous.
Vincent the Beautiful Buckets.
Vincent
Wow.
the Beautiful Buckets.
Hey,
Well, thank
what a
you.
man.
Thank you, Vinny, for joining us. River is very ecstatic about his hot take, so
Okay.
here we go.
Here we go. Who is the best Disney princess?
Why is
I don't know.
the best Disney princess?
What do you define as
Okay.
the best?
How is it?
Elsa. Not a question. Elsa.
There's a question. There.
Like who would win in a fight?
No. Well,
Elsa.
I like
It would
this
be
a lot
Elsa.
better.
Any competition, any comparison, Elsa
It
wins.
would be Elsa.
I don't like Elsa.
I
Why?
feel like Moana.
Why?
Moana's the best. I have a feeling.
Well,
Rapunzel.
Oh,
not
got
winning
me
a fight.
there.
Not winning a fight.
Here's the
Moana
problem.
would definitely lose in a fight.
No,
I
it's
just want to make sure
favorite.
that's very obvious.
Anyone will lose to. Is she even a princess?
I'd count her
She's-
as a princess.
Moana?
Yeah.
Moana?
She's the chief's daughter, which makes her something.
A princess.
Makes
Yeah,
sure-
that
A
makes
literal,
sure. That makes
Heir.
sure.
She's an heiress.
a literal princess.
But it's not. He's not a king.
Prince,
he's the
princess.
chief.
She's
She's a chief.
He's the chief.
But I mean, you would
Does that
count her as
make
a
her
king,
vice
right?
chief?
no.
A chief of a tribe would be similar to a king
She's
of like a country.
secretary of chiefs.
Different rule.
I don't think she's secretary of chief.
Yeah, she's definitely not.
Here's the problem is Mulan definitely takes a cake. She just does. But she's not a princess. She
She had-
doesn't have any royalty.
And she murdered hundreds of.
But would she
people
win in a
flew up
fight?
that
It was
town.
self-defense.
Did you see her?
But
wipe
would
out
she win in
everyone
a
with that
fight?
mountain?
I mean, come on.
Moana
Come
is
on.
the second princess after Pocahontas to be a daughter of a chief. That doesn't make. So she's not a princess.
But have you seen?
Well, she-
Moana
Flynn
is the
Rider?
fifth non-Caucasian princess.
Well,
Why
but
is
she's
this
a
in
princess
here?
though? But she's a princess.
Can we just have? All right, you know what
Moana-
we need to have someone direct a movie of just all the princesses who would win in a fight, and then just go at
It's
it.
Elsa though. Like Elsa would.
It is Elsa. No, it's Elsa.
Because here's the thing: if Rapunzel goes down, Flynn Rider comes out, and Flynn Rider doesn't freaking lose.
Except
for-
that time he got stabbed
for that
by
one time.
Rapunzel's mom.
Moana is not.
no.
the
Moana
900-year-old
is not
woman,
considered
whatever.
a princess by other people, including herself, except for Maui in a joking manner.
But that's The Rock. So
Right,
therefore,
but
he
Dwayne
trumps
says,
everything.
Dwayne
But he's
gets.
joking.
Whatever
He's joking.
Dwayne says,
He
Dwayne
calls
gets.
her
He's running for
princess
president.
sarcastically.
Oh,
For real?
He might be.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson has
Bravo
stated
for
it. He
him.
might
How
go
old-
2024.
How old is
Well, what
Elsa?
is-
8 to 24 years old.
I'm sorry. Wait. So it's just a judgment? It's a judgment range here.
What? in
How
the
old
world?
is
For a costume?
Careful, boys.
How could you throw? How could you give a range?
Yeah, I don't know how you can range
She's
that.
somewhere in there, guys.
Okay, given that Moana is not a princess, it's got to be Elsa.
Facts.
Any fight, she wins. Singing competition, she wins. Any competition, she wins. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna beat
All right,
Elsa?
that was pretty
And
high. It was
follow up
pretty
best prince.
OP. She's high up there.
Flynn
on the
Rider.
list of-
Flynn Rider.
Prince? No.
It's got to be Flynn.
Flynn Rider.
It can't be Flynn Rider. Does it have to be Flynn Rider? I gotta think. You gotta give me
Flynn
some time
Rider
on
is
this
pretty
one.
sweet.
He is pretty sick.
Hey, before we continue, if Ben Reidinger's watching, Endgame rocks, by the way.
Yeah,
Hey,
It's a
let him
good-
know! Let him know!
It-
The follow-up episode, baby.
It's really good, and follow up with that, Rango is the best animated movie, and
Oh,
I won't.
I really
I,
like
Rango.
Those are two hills I will perish on.
Joe versus the volcano. If anyone has any free
Best
time,
animated.
watch that
Really?
movie.
Al-
Rango.
Aladdin.
Really?
Aladdin's got to be the best prince.
Ooh, that's a good one.
He's good.
He got a genie and a. And
That's a
a
good one.
carpet.
Yeah.
He has a free genie
Street rat.
on retainer.
I don't buy that. All right, we're done with this discussion.
Flynn
That was a
Rider.
good discussion.
Let us know what you think. I'm at Elsa best princess, Aladdin best prince.
Yo, but Jasmine.
I'll give my
I'll-
opinions later.
Jasmine has a tiger.
I don't know. I don't really know yet.
Cusco is the best
Cusco.
princess.
Cusco.
Goose goes poison.
The
Cusco
boys are
boys.
for Cusco.
Boys are for
Cusco's
Cusco.
boys.
Boys, Cusco.
Vinny's secret talent. Vinny, why don't you tell us what you're passionate about? Why are you here, man? Why are you here?
Hey.
Tell us stuff.
Well, my name's Vinny,
We've
and
been over that.
yeah.
We got
Hey,
that.
good job.
All right,
Good
cool.
job.
Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
guys.
see you guys later.
No, I'd love to share a little bit about myself with you guys if I can. So this is like just a small part of the beginning of my testimony, if I could. It's not something I share with everybody. This is like the first time I've gone super big with it. So
I don't share it with many people. It's just a podcast.
it's just everyone in the United States. But I was born into a Catholic house. I was born as a baby, and I was raised in that Catholic faith. What?
Born as a baby.
Hey, I'm trying to be vulnerable right now, so if you could just hang on.
Born as a baby.
Hang on. I'm trying to be vulnerable right now. I'm gonna start over. If you laugh, I'm gonna leave. Here we go. So I was born as a baby. Guys.
Have you seen this clip? Is this what you're going on with? Okay, good.
No, but like I was raised in that Catholic house, and I always like knew Jesus, but I never had that relationship with him. You know, he always seemed like a mom or like a security guard to me. He was always just like waiting for me to mess up so he could wag his finger at me and make me say 3 Hail Marys and then start the cycle over. So that tends to leave a big hole in the heart, not having a relationship with Jesus, and that affects everyone in one way or another, you know, but it's always negative. So skip ahead like a bunch. I'm in sophomore year of high school, and it got like really, really bad. And it's a common theme in testimonies. People get depressed, you know. So I won't bore you too much with that, but I did unfortunately end up trying to commit suicide twice, and the second time was bad enough to put me in the ER and send me to the psych ward for an entire week, which in layman's terms sucked. Like, it was bad. It like right there was just really where I felt the lowest and the most alone, and I wasn't like an unpopular kid in high school. Not to toot my own horn, but like kids knew me, you know, kids liked me.
Right.
Mr. WHS, shout out. But like despite having all these friends around me, I just felt by myself still, and it sucked. Luckily, it turned out okay. I'm here. I met Jesus, and I am living a life I am super proud of right now. Super happy to be here. And like a little bit less than a year ago, I really decided to pursue being a leader at this thing called Young Life, specifically in Akron. Shout out.
Yeah.
Talk to him.
Born and raised.
Let's go.
Let 'em know.
But Young Life is a ministry for high school students. I am at the Wadsworth High School branch. Go Grizzlies. Really just reaching out to kids right now. Just, you know, it's tough times with coronavirus.
That's facts.
The only thing I had going for me in high school was I knew everybody and I was friends with everybody. So for kids to be in a position where they can't see their friends, it's got to be tough, I feel. I don't know. I'm not in high school anymore.
It's fair, though.
Yeah.
What? So, for the sake of the conversation, what is Young Life? What would you chalk Young Life up to be?
A lot of people say it's a cult. I will not confirm that here. We do.
How interesting.
We do have Kool-Aid in the woods for fun, but no, but it is just like that high school ministry. It is just a group of college-age guys, or sometimes older, that pursue relationships with broken kids who don't know Jesus, you know? It's really, really just cool. Is all I want to say about it. There's so much. I just don't have too much time, you know? But, like, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Question. So what is like, all right, what is like, how did that benefit you? All right, how did that, this mic's being strange. How did that benefit you when you were in high school, and like, why did that affect you to want to become a leader?
Yeah.
Talk me through a little bit about that.
For sure.
Like, what especially drew you to it?
Well, my junior year, I met this guy named Nick Zacconi, super Italian, so instantly hit it off. Instantly.
Super Italian.
But, yeah. The first time I met him, someone told me he was gay, which isn't super important to the story. It's just funny. Someone told me he was gay, so it was like, and like I spent like 6 months hanging out with this guy, and after that, like he told me he was straight. So it was like 6 months of me like.
So you just like.
But he did a lot to like form a relationship with me, specifically me. Like he did so much sacrificing and time investment into me, and just kept being that person that I could rely on, you know? And then he started to show me this guy named Jesus through Young Life, through what we call campaigners and club. And then I was surrounded by all these other high schoolers who were in Young Life, just building community, and they started inviting me to church and to Bible studies, and then I just decided to give my life away to God once I found that there was more to life than just me, you know? And I'll get into more of this later, but like that is a really big thing for me. Is just knowing that I'm not the center of the universe, because that's something I did struggle with a lot. So just having someone like Nick, who was so invested in me, yet so good at bringing me down, like ego-wise, it was just really inspiring. And then I got invited by, shout out Matt Pavlak. So many shout outs, guys.
A lot of shout outs.
Just shout out everybody.
Hey, that's right. That's good.
Big shout out.
Matt Pavlak really took me under his wing these past year and a half or so. And I just had a community in Young Life of leaders that were really invested in me and really wanted the best for me. So here I am with them now.
Boom.
Very
That's
nice.
insane.
Yeah, super cool.
So why the I know Young Life is very targeted at like the youth, you know. So what's the significance behind the youth? Why the youth instead of like older people or veterans with one leg or whatever?
Because if we went after old people with the name Young Life, it'd be very confusing. No,
You
no,
bring
no, just
them-
kidding, just
you
kidding.
Bring them new Young Life.
Very young life.
No, but that's a good question. So one thing, I talked to Steven about this yesterday, actually, and I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this as well. One thing I have found since senior year of high school to now is something super ironic to me. I look back and I see how I was in high school and I see how high schoolers are now.
Yeah.
And I see that these guys and girls want one thing above everything else, and that is to be wanted. Whether it be by their parents, their peers, or their phone, they want to be wanted.
Right.
And then you look at how they treat what they would call church kids, you know? And it's just surprising because these guys and girls are giving their life away to the person that wants them most. And they're being made fun of, they're being ridiculed. And it just seems ironic to me, you know? My hypothesis...
Science.
Originally I thought it was jealousy. Like, for a long time I was like, oh, they're just jealous, you know? They want this, but they don't know how to get it, so they're jealous. I just think, instead, they don't understand what love is yet. And me being a 20-year-old, I know what love is for sure.
Yeah.
That's totally it.
So good.
That's totally it.
Well, wow. That's actually really, really cool.
Yeah.
So what is love?
Baby, don't hurt me.
hurt me.
I
will-
was gonna say
dude,
that.
Don't hurt me.
Great
No more.
question.
No more.
Great question. Buckle in, because here we go.
Let's get it.
I think humans, in general, are conditional lovers. I love you until you don't want that and you hate me for loving you, then I don't love you anymore. I think we can try not to be that as much as we want, but I feel like that's a little human nature. Personal opinion, I don't know. I also think the best superhero ever is Spiderman. And
I would not argue very hard against that.
I would.
I think Peter Parker never dreamed of being a hero. I think he was pursuing a life that he wanted, and he was trying to fall in love with Mary Jane, the girl, not the drug. But I think his Knights of Spider-Man got in the way of that. I watched a video on this the other day. He started failing classes. He started losing jobs. He started pushing away MJ. And everything he was doing as Spider-Man was going punished. Every good deed was going punished. And one day he just crashed into an alley. This is Tobey Maguire, the second best Spider-Man. One day he crashed into an alley and he just gave up. Like, he threw away the suit. He was done.
Yeah.
But then he remembered Uncle Ben. And that's where I never look back on it because I'm always so like, wow, Spider-Man. But Uncle Ben, in his last moments, he stands up to a robber, right?
Yeah.
And for that, for doing the good thing, the right thing, he gets shot. I think heroism is not about getting rewarded or getting the life that you always wanted. I think it's about doing the right thing in spite of knowing that you'll have to sacrifice those things. So Peter Parker puts on the suit, and he becomes Spider-Man again, and he doesn't get the life he always wanted, but he gets the one that he can be proud of. So, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Love, to me, is not a feeling. I don't think.
I agree.
I think we watch too many things nowadays that don't know what love is. And I think love is what we actually do in spite of our feelings. I think we sacrifice, we endure, we do all these things for people who may never even see it, who may never even value it. I think love is what Jesus did on that cross.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee it. I know that Jesus was sweating blood. I know that he was asking for another way if it be possible. I know that he was willing to do it, and I can't guarantee it, but I'm sure he wasn't super comfortable up there. Love can hurt, for sure. And Jesus being up on that cross is a great example of that. And I think we, as humans, no matter where we are in our faith, maturity-wise, have a hard time comprehending that sacrifice, because that pursuit of us is just so insane, so crazy to us, you know? It's so unconditional.
Right. Well, you look at, like, Jesus, man. Like, I would argue pretty hard that all of his love is taken from a posture of humility. Like, Jesus didn't elevate himself to love us. He lowered himself to love us. Like, that's all Philippians 2:7. And he, like, emptied himself. So what he did, he didn't just come down. He took on the lowest form, and he washed our feet. Not only did he wash our feet, he died for us when we were supposed to die. He took the places of us. So that's love. So there's the sacrifice piece, the humility piece. Hold on, I have a whole thing of this. Give me 1 second.
Smacks his phone.
Hold on.
Well, I think
I have
that-
a note. Steve, go and I'll tell you when I'm
I
ready.
think that like love is. I like where you're going with it, Vinny. Love is something that, at least true love, right? Like we'll say that instead of just like worldly love, because there's definitely a whole entire aspect of worldly love. Like, what do you love of the world, right? You love to feel prideful. You love to feel like you're on top of the world. You love to feel like maybe that is like a romantic love, right? And that can be escalated into so many different worldly things. But I think that love is very, very like it's a very big outline, and like the world says this. The world says I should cancel you right now. The world says I should never be able to forgive you. The world says that because you're annoying or because you're whatever, right? Like I should not be able to reach out to you and extend servanthood. But Jesus hangs out with those people. Jesus lives with those people. Jesus heals those people, interacts with those people, talks to, like, he's constantly with the sinners. And I think that love looks very much like how do you break that earthly mold of love and show them something that no one else understands that's of this earth. And you have to give the explanation of Jesus. You have to. You have to say, this is how I was loved. This is how I received this like different type of love, different perspective of that you also can receive. So I think that like loving each other like that, brother, sister in Christ, if you're lost, whatever it is, I think that is how you show true love to people.
Yeah. And I kind of found where I was at. So like we're on like the subject of like young life. And I want to wrap that into investing in younger people, investing into the people that are looking up to us. And I just wanted to share this passage, Deuteronomy 6:4-9. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. So we have all been called. This is like not just for Israel. This is for all of us. To have you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength, with everything that you are. That needs to be exactly who you are all the time. And I think it's amazing because each one of us here I know works with kids. Like Isaac does like 1st through 3rd on the weekends. I work with like 4 and 5 year olds. Steve works with 5th graders, right? 4th and 5th graders. And you do Young Life. And like we all have taken it on us. Like we're not like parents, but this isn't just the parents. This is like the people who are younger than us, who need to know this truth, that we need to love God with everything that we are. And when you love God, once you start loving God, everything kind of just trickles down from that. The better you are at loving God, not better, I feel like the more you understand the love you have for God and the love that God has for you, the better you are able to love the people around you. So, I don't know, I just think it's amazing your heart and just your passion for kids and just like how you understand that. And like, I don't know, I'm just kind of blown away by you, man. I'm blown away by all of you guys. But
Vinny Buckets.
Vinny Buckets. Wow, super proud, bro.
It just sucks because like you see these kids and I see them making the same mistakes I did that led to that hospital, and I know what I could have done differently to not be there. I know what happened. I know what the problem was, and these kids are out there saying like I am incapable of being loved, and no one is telling them, hey, someone loved you so much they died for you so you could live.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It really is for these kids. Some of them are buttholes for sure.
Yep.
But as were we.
Yeah, as were we.
We've all been through high school.
It is work. It's exhausting though, cause like, Isaac, River, Steven, I see you guys working. Like Chloe, Ben, Soph, I see you guys working. We're tired. We can be exhausted from this. Yeah. But the coolest part is we get to keep doing it.
Yeah. Get to do it.
We get to keep doing it.
Yeah.
We get to keep being tired. I'm juiced.
The thing, I mean, I don't know. There's like everyone always asks, like, why do you like eventually want to be a high school history teacher and stuff, and like help out with Merge and everything here, which is our high school ministry at the church. Everyone always asks like why that age group and like why like they have like all these different problems. They're going through like all these different like emotional changes, like hormones are a thing. I'm like, yeah, like you're totally right. Like you're totally right. But at the same time, like, that's when I discovered Christ. That's when I understand the faults that I went through. So like, when you say that, Vinny, that's, like, the whole entire reason why I would sit there and look at the person who's, like, the most picked on or the most, like, out of the group, like, person, right? And say, hey, listen, just so you know, right, like, you do have somebody there that's for you to love you. Even though you don't feel it. It's still there. And, like, to everybody... And honestly, everybody in the world, we're saying that. I'm making a very broad statement here. Like everyone has their own thing like that. Everybody. Everyone has a thing that like that irks them. That just like when you see somebody who is not in a place that you were, or isn't a place where you were at, but now you're in a whole different place. You sit there and you look at that person and you're like, man, like if only you knew. Like if only you knew right now who's out there for you. Your life would be changed. 100%. Like that's that feeling, that's that push, that's that call. That's like I'm convinced like the reason that I'm around these guys is like a conviction, 100%, to like go out there, pour into them, let them see this light a little bit, and from that, like, dude, like I've seen people in Young Life that are like completely changed because of people like Vinny and all the other Young Life leaders that I'm sure you'll interact with. Like these guys have powerful moments with these guys, with these high schoolers that change their perspective of it. And it's all just because of personal experiences of people saying, I did this in high school. Like we all went through high school at this table, I hope. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Has everybody been through high school here? Are you sure?
I graduated.
All right, sick. Love that. We all know how it feels. We all know how the different temptations, the experiences that we get in high school, right? And yet, somehow, some way, we're all ending up at this table talking at a podcast about Jesus. Like, that whole entire idea of, man, like, I know how hurt people are in high school. Like, I just want to get out there and reach out to them and say, look, here's a light, here's something, right?
So many people like in general, but especially in high school, because like when you're in high school, you haven't fully formed everything that you think you know about the world.
Yeah.
Like you're forming that currently, and like literally everyone has a craving for Jesus, and they just like don't know what his name is.
Yeah.
Like you want to be loved, you want to be accepted, you want to like feel like you are awesome and you're not worthless, you're not everything. Like, oh yeah, that's what he does. Like, you want to stop doing that? That's what Jesus does. But like they just don't know his name, and so you reach out for something like looking to fill that void, and you use sports, popularity, him, her, fill in your blank to fill that hole that is supposed to be filled by Jesus.
Yeah.
And like, if you're a believer, it is your obligation and responsibility and privilege to look to the younger generations, people going through the same things that you already went through, and it is your responsibility to help, to guide them, to be there for them, to mentor them, to talk to them, to pray for and with them. It is your job to help bring those people towards Jesus. That's what, like, go and make disciples of all nations. Like, it's not go and be friends, go and tell people about Jesus. Like, make disciples.
Yeah.
Talk to people, interact with people. Like, when you're making disciples, it's not a one-time conversation. You're continually pouring yourself into that person over and over and over. Like, you ever seen like a fountain, and then they have like multiple bowls, you know? And at the top, like the water's coming out, and then it drips and it fills the bowl, and it drips and it fills the bowl. Like, so we got the Bible and God, and that like filled you, or like maybe you have a mentor, and now you're getting filled, and your job is to pour out into the other people.
Yeah.
And then we have this giant, glorious fountain.
There was this model that I saw in a book. Oh gosh, I'll remember it one day. But I was going through this book, and it talked about this idea of like if you think about a youth group, they call it like a discipleship group. But like if you look at,
Ew.
I know, right? The nerve.
It's a youth group.
For you.
But what is it? Like if you look at it and you just have 4 people from that group pour out and start their own group, right? Of 4 people. It's like by the end of that list of, I think it was like of 8 generations around, or like it was 8 or 9 generations. Like you will have close to like 100,000 new people, all starting from 4 people. Like it's this idea of like this is an everlasting like chain of events. Like somewhere down the line, you interacted with somebody who was interacted with, who was interacted with, who was interacted with, and was spread the gospel, right? Somewhere down the line, you had this generational gap that interacted with you, and that is what gave you just that little bit more of a hint of what Jesus' heart is like. We have an obligation, like Isaac said, Matthew 28. I mean, it's go make disciples of all nations. It's not go, like you said, Isaac, and make like best friends with people. Go and make a person who you're able to feel fulfilled by. It's like no, none of that. It's like no. It's go and make disciples who will make disciples, who will make disciples, who, and so on and so forth.
The fountain.
The fountain. That will constantly be able to share their life experiences, and they'll be able to share their life experiences, and it just keeps going and going and going. It's incredible how much power talking to that one person that you just interacted with from high school that's going through something. It's like the power of that could change. We're talking like hundreds of thousands of numbers down the road.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
And like whether you're the first seed, like you're helping this person take the first step towards Jesus, or you are the person that like gets to be there when they take the final step and they like accept Jesus. Like doesn't matter what's going on. Like your job is to help them get up the stairs. Doesn't matter what step that they're on. And like I know personally, me and like other people I know, like we feel like discouraged because I've been talking to this person for 5 years and they still like do not get it. And they like whatever. But I know that they're getting up the stairs. There might be a lot of stairs and they might be like really slow and they might like fall downstairs or not good at walking upstairs. But I know that like 5 years is a pain, but like eventually someday, like if they're gonna get to that point, like I have to be there to like help them get up the stairs. If I'm not helping them get up the stairs, they're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I think like I think in today's culture where everyone is uber sensitive about everything, and you come at them like with the gospel, and the gospel is kind of offensive. It is offensive because it's like, hey, you know the way you live, stop. Like, you know everything you believe, wrong. But like the way that Jesus did everything, he came at people like with this super offensive messaging, but because he was so loving and he was so kind, and he wasn't like screaming at, he wasn't like turn or burn, like get saved or get microwaved type of thing. Like that type of messaging used to work. That does not work in this culture anymore. But you come at someone with like the love that Jesus has, and like, hey, like maybe you're not living the best way right now, but that doesn't mean I love you any less. And I think like back to our definition of love, I think love is equaled to approval in today's society. Like if you're gonna love me, you have to approve of everything that I'm doing. You know what I mean? Whether that like that's not true. Like if you're actively living out like a sinful sexual lifestyle, like I do not approve of that. That does not mean I don't love you.
Yeah.
Not at all. Right? I still love you no matter what. And we need to be okay as Christians to kind of ruffle feathers with the gospel. Not like random semantic things of like, no, it was a literal 6-day creation. But like you look at Paul, he's like, when you're going to put your foot down, don't put it down on stupid stuff. Put it down on the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. That's where you put your foot down. Because you're going to lose people in the semantics, in the little things, in the things that aren't as important as the resurrection. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like we need that, like that. The whole point of our podcast is called Without Apology, is not because we're jerks and we're gonna shove this down your throat, but because we're gonna talk about Jesus and we're not sorry about it. Mm-hmm. Like we are not ashamed of our Lord and Savior, the person who gave us life, keeps us alive, and will continue to make us alive. Yeah. So we need to like, as Christians, step up and be okay to not be liked. Yeah. Be okay to like not get invited to something, because the risk of offending someone for the sake of the gospel is not a risk at all. Mm-hmm. That's a no-brainer, and we've made false calculations in our head that being accepted and being liked is equivalent to the gospel. Yeah. Mad cap, Mad Hatter.
Mad cap. Yeah. What's the idea of like I don't think that any of us are ever gonna get. This is actually talked about recently at Collective. If you don't come and you're in college, you better come. Thursday night, 7 o'clock. All right,
Thursday night,
shameless
754 Gent Road.
Shameless plug. Like the idea of, well, I don't think anyone in America is ever going to get killed for believing what they believe. Like, right. So I don't think any of us will ever be. I mean, who knows? You know, who knows where things could go down the road. But I think that as of today, as I'm speaking right now, I will not get persecuted and thrown in jail for speaking about Jesus on a podcast. I don't think I will. Now, that would be what, like, a lot of people would say would be like suffering for Christ, right? Well, in reality, there's different ways that, like, there's different ways that you can suffer, and maybe your suffering is not going to that event. Maybe that suffering is you don't get to hang out with, or maybe you have to lose some friends that you've already made, right? Like, that might literally be your suffering, because for some people, I mean, I know for me, not being able to go to a couple things here and there with some of my friends, it does not feel good, that's for sure. I know the fact that maybe later down the road, like, there's going to be people who I'm going to have to, cut out because they're saying, because I'll interact with them, I see that they're not helping me produce good fruit. And so I'm like, hey, like, this is my suffering. I have to endure suffering. But in that, like, I find pure joy in those sufferings and in those trials. Right? Like, because I'm not gaining anything of this earth. I'm actually gaining more good fruit, and I'm getting closer to Jesus from that. So therefore it is to gain. That right there is amazing. And so like, and the idea, like, I was talking with Vinny about this yesterday and stuff. He's like, yeah, I owe a lot on my plate. I'm like, yeah, like, I feel like that always happens whenever, like, big stuff like you're doing, like, with ministry happens. Like, the fact that like, I know that Young Life is Vinny, you always say, I'll let you speak on this because I don't want to speak for you, but like a 24/7 thing. So, like, describe what the heck you do that makes it like a 24/7 thing, because it's crazy.
I think being in relationships is a 24/7 thing. It's not even Young Life, like, you could throw Young Life out the window. Being there for these kids, being just that person who despite them trying to push you away in a not like, my mom doesn't want me seeing you because la la la. Mm-hmm. But like being that person where everyone else is leaving in their life so you won't kind of thing, that's like a no days off thing. That's like 24/7 you're there for them. And obviously like you have work, you have school. I have work in 15 minutes. Like I can't be here for 24 hours a day. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be the same person at work as I am here. I'm going to be dressed a little differently and smell like ranch. But
Hey, B-dubs.
Hey, B-dubs.
Let him know.
But I'm going to be that same person. I'm going to be that same guy for the high school kid that I will be for the person ordering today, for the person I meet on the street later. I'm going to try and be that same person. So that's where that comes in as a 24/7 thing.
Yeah.
I mean, your life is your ministry, right?
Yeah, that's facts.
Like, what doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
You know what? I wish someone had told me when I was in high school that my life isn't held on to like strings of other people's opinions.
Oh
you know?
my goodness.
Like,
Amen.
do you know like the anxiety and depression that I'm pretty sure almost all of us at this table experienced in high school because of opinions that don't matter?
Oh yeah.
When the only opinion that matters is the one of our Father, and that's the opportunity we have.
Because
Like, that's ridiculous.
Dude.
So, if you're listening, literally the only opinion that matters is not yours. It's God's.
Facts.
So
Right,
get over yourself.
Right.
Get over the kid that's really cool in high school.
He's not.
In 4 years, he won't be. And
He
to
has
be honest,
I'm
he has
not
peaked.
cool.
and to be honest, he's not very cool right now.
Facts.
Yeah. So whatever you do.
High school is not reflective of real life in the slightest.
I always
at
tell
all.
people,
Which is
who are-
hilarious.
Neither
I always
is
tell
me.
people
Neither is
emerge.
college, honestly.
I ask people emerge. I'm like, dude, I just want you to know, like, whatever you're going through, high school is not real life. Like, it is
It's not.
It is actually made to be less real life than like. It's just made to be less real life.
If anything, it's
than
more
anything
intense.
else.
If anything,
You-
it's
like,
more
you know,
intense.
literally.
Like your best athlete there, that's like the stuff. 4 years, he'll be working at a Dairy Queen. Like
There you
literally,
go.
like
That's true.
I don't
Unless
know.
he goes on to play D1 football. Other than that,
I don't know. There
makes
are.
sense.
I mean,
then after that, he's
the point is that things in high school seem so big at the time, so big, but when we have a perspective of God and the rest of your life outside of 4 years, it really is not that big.
exactly.
And comparison is the thief of confidence.
Yeah.
So stop comparing yourself, man.
Yeah.
Stop comparing yourself and follow God without apology. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. Make sure to check us out on all our various social media platforms. Check out the YouTube. The YouTube is fun.
It's hype. I'm
YouTube
just
is
saying.
fun.
It's better. You get to see.
I do fun editing things in the videos, so
He does.
if you're interested,
he does.
check that out.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram if you're not at Without Apology. Thank you, Vinny.
Thank you, Vinny.
Thank you, Vinny.
guys.
We'll see you next week.
Grizzly.